I'm Jolene Wynn, and this is the Porn Out Ex-Wife Podcast, episode number 239, my number one tool to get through hard times. If your husband is struggling with a pornography problem and you want some help with it and you are not finding the resources that you like, you are in the right place. My name is Jolene Wynn. I am a certified life coach. I am an active member of the LDS faith, and I am the wife of a former porn addict. And on this podcast, I am going to share with you the tools that you need in order to start your healing journey. This is where I'm going to show you how to dive deep into intentional living, how to rekindle connection with your spouse, how to manage all that emotional turmoil that you're feeling, how to break the addiction cycle that you have to your husband's addiction, and tell you all of the ways to do that and start healing. I am so glad that you're here, and I can't wait to get started. Let's go. All right, my ladies, it is Christmas week, and it is a beautiful time of year that I love so much, and yet I also know that this is a time of year that can be very, very difficult. There can be a lot of triggering times, a lot of triggering events. You could be around people that bring up a lot of emotion. You can have a lot of memories that are very difficult to handle during this time of year. And maybe you're doing some different shifts circumstantially that are making this difficult right now. This is supposed to be the time of year where it's peaceful and joyful and everything is light and happy. And it can be very difficult when your husband is struggling, or even if your husband isn't struggling with pornography, if you just have something going on in your life, it can feel almost extra heavy this season because it feels like it shouldn't be happening. It feels like you shouldn't have this to be struggling with, especially when it seems like everyone else isn't. And so I was talking to my husband about how I had this podcast episode and I had a different topic all planned out. And it was about New Year's and how we're going to start off fresh and create a foundation. And it was talking about the master class next month. And the truth is my brain's not there yet. And I know that there are so many of you that your brains are not there yet. And I wanted to figure out what could help you. And my husband asked me this question. He said, what could you tell your women? What is the one tool that you could tell them that would help them during this season? If you're going through a hard season in your life, then this is for you. This is what I thought. And it's the number one thing that I tell my clients. And that is to give yourself grace and space. Okay? Here's what I mean by that. Whether your husband just relapsed or your husband just lost his job or anything in your life that all of a sudden feels very hard and heavy, I want to give you permission. I want to offer that you give yourself grace. The thing that's going to make this easier is to give yourself grace for whatever it is that you're feeling. A lot of times we don't do that. We don't give ourselves the benefit of grace for whatever it is, whatever emotion is coming up for us. Instead, we judge it. I can't believe I'm feeling this way. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I should be feeling lighter. I should be past this already. This shouldn't be coming up. And we tend to judge ourselves for all the emotion that's coming up rather than just allowing it to be there. And that's what I want to offer for you. When you give yourself permission, when you allow yourself the grace to just accept whatever emotion comes up and not judge it, you remove all the resistance. And all that resistance is just weighing you down. You don't need it. So that grace is what I want to offer that you give yourself for allowing whatever comes up and not judging yourself for it. Any thought, any feeling, just give yourself the grace to have it there, and it's totally okay. The other thing I want to offer that you give yourself grace for is grace for whatever emotion you're not feeling. Maybe you're not feeling very peaceful. Maybe you're not feeling very loving and kind and accepting. Maybe you're actually feeling a little bit bitter, okay? I want you to give yourself grace, to allow yourself permission to not feel whatever it is that you think you should be feeling, right? And there's that judgment again of I should be doing this. I should be feeling this way. Let all of that go. Anything that you're feeling is totally fine. And anything that you're not feeling is also totally fine. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to get there. And it doesn't mean that it's never going to come. And it doesn't mean that you're Scrooge because you can't feel peace. You're not feeling very happy or peaceful or joyful this season, okay? That's not what it means. All it means is that you have some thoughts and you have some feelings that need to be processed. And obviously, these are the ones that need to be processed first because they're the ones that are coming up. So give yourself grace, not only for what you are feeling, but also for what you're not. The other thing that I want to offer is you give yourself grace and stop comparing yourself to other people. One of the worst things that we do to ourselves is compare ourselves to others. We never actually see 100% of anybody else's story. And I think one of the downfalls and misconceptions of social media especially is that we think we're seeing it all, especially when we follow people who claim to be real. Even if they're showing you a ton of stuff, you're seeing maybe a 90-second clip that has been edited and spliced together of someone's life, probably with a filter on it. It's not the whole story. And even if you know some of what's going on circumstantially, you don't know their thoughts, you don't know their feelings. You are getting the highlight reel. And I want to offer that you give yourself the grace to be where you are and not where other people are. And I'm not perfect at this, especially for me, it comes up most in comparing my business. Now, it used to come up in comparing my marriage. Why do they get to why don't they have to struggle with this? And why am I struggling with this? Why do they seem to be handling this better than I am? Okay? This is one of the beautiful things I love about my community inside my coaching program. I have a private community where all of my clients can message one another. And it's the most judgment-free zone. And I don't see any of them comparing themselves to any of the other ones, okay? And it's such a beautiful thing to witness, to see that it's possible to have a group that's 100% support, where you're not comparing. All their circumstances are different. Their ages, their marriages, whether they're married, divorced, separated, how many kids they have, or whether they don't have kids, what exactly their husband has seen or hasn't seen or done or hasn't done. And yet it's such a loving and compassionate place. And that's what I want to offer for you as well. And it just takes some practice to be able to rewire your brain in order to stop judging yourself compared to other people. Do not, or what I want to offer is that you don't have to judge yourself based on other people and where you think they are. And when you do that, when you continue to judge yourself based on where you think other people are and what you think their struggles are and what you think their strengths are, you will always find something wrong within yourself. You will think, I should be past this sooner. They must be doing something better. I should be past this already because look, they seem to be past it. And I want to offer that you let all of that go. Right now in this season of hard, I want you to give yourself permission to be selfish and to only look at yourself, meaning don't compare yourself to where other people are. And I don't mean, tunnel yourself into a ball and never look at anyone else again. I mean, allow yourself the grace to let everyone else go. You don't need to compare your story to theirs. Their story right now is irrelevant, okay? The other thing that I want to offer is you give yourself grace to let go of all the shoulds. Kind of like I was talking about with the emotions that are coming up. There are no should emotions. You shouldn't be feeling one thing. You should not be feeling something else. There are no shoulds and shouldn'ts in this situation. Everything that's coming up is completely fine. You shouldn't be farther along. You shouldn't be feeling more happy than you are right now. And let it all be totally fine. And I do want to also offer that you allow yourself the grace to not have a should for how long this season takes. And that's often our downfall as well, is not only do we compare ourselves to other people, but we'll also put a timeline on how long we think we should be in the hard season. We think that the hard season should be really short and that we should get through it faster. And then we've been in it for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and we think, well, I should be past this by now. This should be gone already. I shouldn't still be feeling these emotions. And what I want to offer is there's nothing wrong with it, whatever it is that you're feeling and whatever it is that is coming up for you. And if there's stuff that's still coming up for you and you want to learn more skills to enable you to get past it faster, that's very different than judging yourself and saying, I should be past this, I should be past this. Because all that judgment does, judgment acts like a trap door and it just locks all the emotion inside of you. So if you have a lot of negative emotion that's coming up and you're tired of dealing with that, then self-judgment is just going to lock it in there and keep it stuck there longer. And what I want to offer is that it is possible to let go of it. It is possible to move past it. It just may take having a coach or learning how to process that emotion out more fully and having a coach to help you do that in order to get through it faster. And if you want to do that, great. But sometimes we judge ourselves too harshly for whatever it is that we're going through, telling ourselves that we should be past this sooner. And I want to offer that we let that go. Okay, so that's the grace part. The space is the other part of this tool that I want to offer that you allow yourself. And here's what I mean by that. Emotion is very physical, right? Emotion is just a physical vibration going on in your body. Every emotion that we feel is a different physical vibration in our body, right? Grief feels very different physically than anxiety. Anxiety is very high emotion. We feel it up higher, very high adrenaline. Grief is very heavy and it sits much lower, right? So every emotion that we feel in our body has a different physical vibration. And when we have something that produces a lot of emotion, when we're going through something hard, something overwhelming, we are experiencing a lot of physical vibrations. And so it's very draining. So I want to offer that you do a lot of physical self-care. And that might look different for each one of you. Take a moment. What is it that actually rejuvenates you? Maybe it's taking a nap. Take as many naps as you need. Give yourself space to take care of yourself physically. Take a nap. Take a bubble bath. Go tanning. I'm naming my favorite things, okay? Do the things that make you feel rejuvenated physically, because that is going to help you move through this. Give yourself the space to take care of your body. The other thing that I want to offer is that you give yourself the space to not make decisions. Most of the time, when we are feeling a lot of emotion, it's coming at somebody else's decisions or a decision we've already made. Maybe you've made a decision to separate. Maybe your spouse has made a decision to relapse. Maybe there is circumstantially a decision that a boss has made that now puts you in a different financial situation. And then we have an upsurge of emotion. And what I want to offer is that you don't need to make any extra decisions right now. Give yourself space to let go of any unnecessary decisions. You don't even have to decide what you're going to wear. Okay? Take it all off the table. Put on sweats, wear pajamas all day. I don't care. Take as many decisions off the table as you need. And just try not to make any big decisions in this moment. You don't need to. All of those will still be there later, and many of them will just fade away and you'll realize how unimportant they really are. Give yourself the space to not make decisions. The other thing is I want to offer that you can give yourself space to clear your calendar. Cancel as much as you possibly can. You don't need it. Again, processing emotion is a very physical experience, and a lot of the things that we do require physical energy. So the more physical energy that you are outputting, the more you are requiring of yourself physically in your calendar, in your schedule, especially this time of year with the holidays, the less you're actually going to be allowing yourself the ability to process everything, and you're just going to exhaust yourself physically. So I want to give you permission to clear your schedule as much as possible, okay? Only do what is absolutely required, okay? And I mean this to the nth degree. Start ordering food. Don't cook. You don't need to make your bed. You don't need to do laundry. Like, as much as you possibly can, just let it all go, okay? And then the last thing that I want to offer with space is I want to offer that you give yourself permission and space to feel all the emotion. Just like giving yourself the grace and the lack of judgment to feel all the emotion, I want to offer you, give yourself space. Give yourself the gift of time and space to feel all the feelings, including the positive. When we go through something hard and overwhelming and heavy, it's very tempting to want to block out all positive emotion. Anything that even remotely feels positive, we want to block it out because it feels wrong and it feels like it's a violation of our story. It feels like we're cheating on our negative emotion a little bit. It feels like we aren't really giving our story and giving our experience the reality of it, right? It feels like we need to be in it 100%, 365, because otherwise it's invalidating what we just went through. And I want to offer that that's not true. I want to offer that you give yourself the space to feel that negative emotion, but also feel the positive. Allow yourself moments. And they might just be moments. They might just be glimpses of positive emotion. It might just be a moment of peace. It might be a moment of calm. It might be just a glimpse of hope. And I want to offer that you allow yourself the space to feel it in the same way that you allow yourself the space to feel any negative emotion that comes up as well. Because it's just as important that we allow ourselves the positive as allowing ourselves the negative. And in this moment, it's really tempting for your brain to just block out everything positive. And I want to offer that you don't do that. Give yourself permission to see the moments where God is holding your hair back. I've talked about this on the podcast before, but this is really what I have come to lean on over the last 2 years, is the moments where I feel like I have seen and I have looked for God holding my hair back. And this comes from when I was a kid and I would get sick, and I don't know how my mom did this. She has like some super spidey sense. When I was a kid, if I would throw up, if I'd get, the stomach flu or something and I throw up, my mom would come and she'd hold my hair back as I threw up over the toilet. Okay. And in that moment, she couldn't make me feel any better. She couldn't take away the sickness. She couldn't take away the pain, but she was right there with me holding my hair back. And I feel like God has done that so much in my life, especially over the last 2 years. And I want to encourage you to see that as well. God is in your story. He brought you to this podcast. He brought you to where you are in your life. And He has led you every step of the way. And the more that I have opened my eyes and given myself the grace and space to see God, the more I have seen Him. And it's been a beautiful thing to witness all of the times where I have seen Him hold my hair back, where I have gotten a text at just the right time, where I couldn't make it through church and I went and sat in a separate room. I left. I was sitting next to my husband in the congregation and I just left. I just was bawling and I went into the bathroom and then I went into a different classroom, an empty classroom. And lo and behold, my friend got up and felt like she should go out, and she came and she found me and just sat by me and said nothing. And just cried with me and just held my hand, and I just lay down on her shoulder and cried. And that was a moment that God was a witness to me through her. God was looking out for me, and He couldn't be here, but He sent her. That was Him holding my hair back, and He was using somebody else to do it. And that's often what happens. God is holding your hair back through messages that you find on Instagram, through a friend or a family member texting you or asking if they can do anything for you, or through a podcast that you find at just the right time. All of this is God holding your hair back. And in the moments, in the days that feel never ending, in the times that feel heavy and hopeless and overwhelming, I want to encourage you to give yourself the grace and space to see God and to know that He's there with you, even if He doesn't take it away. And He doesn't, ladies. We are human and we have a human experience. And that human experience comes with positive and negative. And He's not always going to take the negative away. But He will always be there with us in the negative if we allow Him. Think about this, especially this Christmas time. God came in the negative. He came in poverty. He was born in a stable with nobody but the poorest of shepherds to see Him there. And He was brought into a family where His parents were not married. And He was born, and it just was the most bizarre set of circumstances. And He has gone through our world so that He can know exactly what you're feeling in this moment. And that is a beautiful gift. And I know there are so many of you right now that are hurting, and I just want to offer the grace and space, and also offer you my support and love in any way that I possibly can. I have been in moments where I had no one else. It was very lonely and very isolating, and that's why I started this, is so that you know in these moments that you're not alone. Not only do you have me, but you also have God, and He's got you. So I love you. You are much stronger than you think, and you're going to get through this. I love you so much. Take care. Merry Christmas. All right, my lady, if you love what you're hearing on the podcast and you're ready to take it and apply it in your life to see a true transformation, then I want to invite you to come join my coaching program. Now is the best time because I have just added an annual membership, so you can join for the lowest price ever. Get all the details on my website, jolenewind.com, and don't forget to sign up for a free consultation call with me today. We'll get on the call, we'll talk about where you are, what you're struggling with, and then we'll see what is the right fit for you and your budget. Again, go to my website, jolenewind.com, sign up for a call, and I'll see you there.